Chapter 3. It was a long time before I could learn anything about the world he came from. The little prince asked me question after question, but never seemed to hear mine. It was from carelessly dropped words that I gradually constructed the tale. When he noticed my playing for the first time, for instance, "No, I shall not draw it. It is too complicated." He asked me, "What is that thing?" "That is not a thing. It can fly. It is a plane. It is my airplane." I was quite proud to have him know that I was a pilot and could fly the plane. He cried out, "Oh my! So you dropped out of the sky?" "Yes," I answered humbly. "That is so funny." And the little prince broke into a ringing laugh, which displeased me very much. I expect others to take my problems seriously. Then he said, "So you have come from the sky too? From which planet?" At that instant, I realized he was giving me an important hint about himself. And I said, "You are from a different planet, aren't you?" He did not respond. Gazing steadily at my plane, he remarked, "And that thing, you couldn't have come from very far away." Then, for what seemed like a long time, he stood lost in thought. Eventually, he took my sheep out of his pocket and looked at it closely. As you can imagine, I was intrigued when he suggested he was from another planet. So I tried to find out more. "Where are you from? What is this small place you speak of? Where are you going to take my sheep?" He thought for a while and answered, "It is good that he has the box. At night, he can use it at his house." "Quite right. And if you behave, I can give you a rope to tie him with during the day, and also a post to which he can be tied." The little prince was aghast. "Tie him? Why would we do such a strange thing?" "But if you don't," I said, "will he not wander off and get lost?" My little friend burst out laughing again. "But where do you think he would go?" "Anywhere, I suppose, as his nose guides him." He answered solemnly, "It doesn't matter. In my world, everything is really small." And then, with a touch of sadness, the little prince added, "Letting his nose guide him will not get him very far." Chapter 4. As a house. But I don't know why I was so surprised. I was aware that besides the great planets, the ones we have named Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Venus. There are also many others, some of which are so tiny that it is difficult to spot them even through the telescope. When an astronomer discovers a new planet, he gives it a number instead of a name. Something like asteroid 325. I strongly believe that the Little Prince planet is the asteroid known as B612. This asteroid has only been seen once through a telescope by a Turkish astronomer in 1909. This astronomer presented his discovery at the International Astronomical Congress, but he was completely ignored because of his Turkish dress. Grown-ups can often be like that. Thankfully for the asteroid B612, a Turkish dictator decreed that his subjects must dress in European clothes or face death. So, the astronomer made his presentation again in 1920. This time dressed in a handsome suit. He was able to convince everyone. I have given you these details about the asteroid because of the grown-ups. They seem to love numbers. When they hear that you have made a new friend, they ask the most unimportant questions. They never say, "What does his voice sound like? What game does he love best? Does he collect butterflies?" Instead, they ask, "How old is he? How many brothers has he? What is his weight? Does his father make much money?" From these numbers alone, they think they have learned everything about him. For instance, if you were to say to the grown-ups, "I saw a beautiful brick house with geraniums in the windows and doves on the roof," they would be confused. But if you say, "I saw a house worth $1 million," they would remark, "What a pretty house!" So, if you say to them, "The Little Prince exists. He was so very nice and charming. He laughed and he asked for a sheep. Only a real person wants a sheep," the grown-ups would only shrug their shoulders and think you were being childish. However, if you were to say, "He came from asteroid B612," they would be convinced and would leave you in peace. That is how they are. You must not hold it against them. Children need to be very patient with grown-ups. For those of us who understand life, numbers are not so critical. If you only could begin this story like a fairy tale, then I would say, once upon a time, there was a little prince who lived on a planet barely bigger than himself. He was in search of a friend. I do not want anyone to read my book carelessly. Reliving these memories had made me sad. It has been 6 years since my friend departed, along with his sheep. I must try to describe him here to make sure that I don't ever forget him. To forget a friend is terrible. Not everyone has had a friend. I do not want to be like grown-ups who are only interested in numbers. So, I have bought a box of paints and some pencils. It is so hard to return to drawing at my age, when all I have ever produced are 2 pictures of boa constrictor from the outside and the inside at the age of 6. I will certainly try to make my portraits as realistic as possible, but I don't know if I will succeed. One drawing looks fine, but the other looks nothing like him. I don't seem to get the little prince height right either. He is too tall in one and too small in another. Neither am I sure about the color of his clothes, so I try as best as I can. Sometimes getting it right, sometimes not. You must excuse my mistakes. It is not my fault. My friend never gave me any explanations. He thought, perhaps, that I was like him. But alas, I cannot see sheep through the walls of boxes. Maybe I'm a bit like the grown-ups. Maybe I have grown old.